negative news to overcome. Let's get to our floor show traders, Tom Hayes and Chris Robinson. You know, Chris, obviously the kind of competition President Biden's executive order targets really worse in some sectors than others. And I'm thinking big tech specifically has been smashing any and every little guy that pops up. But three of the big four tech names under the gun, Apple, Google, Facebook, are up. I mean, Amazon slightly down. So what do you think about this? And does it I guess, trip up the bull? Because it's not right now.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting there looking at the S&P futures at all-time highs. This president ran on more regulation and reversing a lot of the stuff that the previous administration done. That's sort of their bailiwick, right? Regulate it. It's an old Ronald Reagan truism. If it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. If it stops moving, subsidize it. So we're kind of back to that type of outlook. The great thing is this market doesn't care. The market's up 35% since the election, 35%, and we're sitting there making new highs. So, you know, if the market, every time they make new regulations, if the market responds like this, I'd say, let's have 4 more years of it, because it certainly doesn't seem to bother this market. And at the end of the day, the whole idea, there's 72 ideas in that, suggestions, hopes, wishes, dreams. We'll see exactly how many of them get done. But at the end of the day, it's always better, I think, to have more competition. And so I think the market's kind of, kind of really brushed this off, shoved it off. Especially, I think a lot of people thought that big tech would have gotten hammered. It could care less. So that tells you when a market gets bad news and rallies, it's a sign of strength.
Tom, maybe it is also that people believe that there may be a little room for more regulation when it comes to certain sectors, and that this is nothing that President Biden hadn't promised. So let's just take it on a bigger picture here. Specifically, I guess you look at the S&P 500. If we could show an intraday here, we are now very close, if not at session highs. Same with the Dow. We could just cycle through these, and you can see. So are there other sectors that will actually benefit more so from these EO orders, and what should people be adding on a Friday heading into a summer weekend?
Yeah, well, Liz, I think if the administration is successful going at the larger companies, the premise is that 75% of industry is more concentrated than 20 years ago. I think small caps could benefit. They've been flat since February. So if they're going after the big companies, smaller businesses will do better. On the healthcare side, he wants to bring down drug costs by importing drugs from Canada. Canada doesn't want it. But the theme is lower prices. And I think the generic producers that have been left for dead in recent years, like the Beatrice, like the Teva, they're trading at less than 4 times next year's earnings. Beatrice pays a 3.2% dividend yield while you wait. I think these could actually be multi-baggers over the next 3 to 4 years. They've been working out some of their legacy issues over the last few years. With the demand for lower drug pricing, I think they're going to get a bid, and I think they're going to be great places to put money. As far as transportation, he says that the service on the airlines is terrible. We need more competition. Well, if there are incentives for new carriers, guess who's going to benefit from plane demand? Boeing and GE, 2 undervalued industrial stocks. And then on technology, if he goes after them and they have to spin, Google has to spin YouTube or Waymo, Facebook has to spin Instagram or Amazon AWS, which is unlikely but possible. Who's going to benefit? The shareholders are going to benefit because the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. So I think the unintended consequence of these regulations is that shareholders will do better.
Well, the one difference, I think, when you're talking about Biden and Roosevelt really had the support of Congress with the Sherman Antitrust Act and putting some teeth into it finally back in 1902. But we'll see if Congress can get together on anything or nothing. Tom Hayes, Chris Robinson, have a good weekend, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
You too. Thank you.